Good evening, Groveland. Planning Board meeting on Tuesday, December 2nd, 2025, 7 PM at Town Hall. Call the meeting order.
I'll make a motion to open the meeting.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so moved. All right, thank you. Welcome, everyone. So our first agenda item is a major site plan review and special permit request. One Elm Park, assesses map 10, lot 39, business district zone. Review of a major site plan application under chapter 50, 13.2, and a special permit under chapter 50, 9.4 of the Town of Groveland zoning bylaw for the interior reconfiguration of the first floor of an existing structure to create 2 commercial spaces and 1 accessory dwelling unit, and to add an ADA accessible entry. The project will alter approximately 3,000 gross square feet of floor area and require 4 additional parking spaces. All right. Mr. Guilfoyle, how are you tonight?
Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you all for coming out on the lovely late fall night we have here. Since we last met, we have submitted additional documentation as requested by the board and by the planner. We had previously submitted the boundary survey that is in your possession. We have submitted the parking notes on the survey, added to the survey from our Groveland-based engineer, Brian Parmenter. We have submitted the lighting plan from our electrician, master electrician. He also gave us the electrical load calculations from him, not the ones I was able to calculate, the ones he was able to calculate, showing that we're well under the current service, which we anticipated. And we did today submit for a permit to replace the electrical panel in the building. We continue to urge that we would request a waiver of the utility plan and the landscaping plan. As far as utility goes, it's an existing service and a service shed for electric. The building is existing on sewer for decades. There are no utility changes happening at all. As far as the landscaping goes, there is almost no grass on that building. There's a little bit in the front, and there's no changes happening to the landscaping. We did express our interest in doing some urban landscaping potentially going forward. As far as our parking situation goes, we have 14 parking spaces, so we're actually very fortunate. We have 7 along the river and 3 in the driveway as tandem spaces, an additional 4 that we've identified with our engineer. That's on the documents that you have. Based on the town's requirements for the 2 commercial spaces and the existing bedrooms and new bedroom that we're adding, we'll need 18 total parking spaces. We believe that we're going to create almost no impact to parking in Groveland. We have 3 parking spaces on Main Street that directly abut our building. So based on the survey, we're seeking to claim those. And then the additional 1 space that we would need, per the 2025 bylaw passed at town meeting, we calculated that the Groveland Water Department is well within the requirements of that bylaw, and that we would require commercial employees we encourage them to use that parking lot. But we also know that we have directly abutting spaces for us. Sweet Paws has 3 additional on their end that we've never had to use, and we've never had anybody parking in the median. To reiterate that, we're currently occupying the 3rd floor office space with JGPR. Moving that to the 1st floor would have no appreciable impact on the parking. It's the same employees moving downstairs. We've never used the median for parking. We rarely use Main Street. We use the spaces that we've carved out, and then we would basically earmark the spaces that we own, prioritizing the residential tenants first at all times so that people who live there always have a place to park off-street, and then being able to push employees to ideally the municipal lot. If you're going to be there all day, it's not a bad walk. It's sidewalk. You walk past Jerry's and you're there. And then using the Main Street spots when you have to. We do have a prospective tenant for the former Stark and Cronk side, and they've graced us with their presence tonight. The current West Newbury Learning Center would, pending formal signing of a lease, be moving into the building, which I'm very excited about. It brings an actual use, commercial use to the building. So having the 2 sort of office or small group uses on the 1st floor puts life into the building without really adding any significant traffic increases. My employees already go in the building every day, and this would be non-retail, small group drop-off with with few employees parking and no customer parking. So we're happy about that. We know in any downtown, parking is always a premium, We're mindful that even though the bylaw was passed this year, we don't want to be adding 100 cars to downtown Grove if we don't have to. So we project minimal impact on traffic, minimal impact on parking, and 3 of the 4 spots that we need are covered by the spots that abut our building.
I'm trying to think of what else needed to be covered based upon the
Wanna do
the
public
TRC, the TRC that,
Yeah. Do you have three-phase power in that building?
We do not, no. We have 400 amp service, and we're using about 200. With the projected load, Chris Bola calculated for us, we're going to be well under 300 amps needed to
Yeah,
power the
I
heat
saw
pumps.
that, but there's three-phase power available.
I've never researched it. We're not doing any heavy work, so I never went into sort of
No, I mean,
that.
it's-
I thought we had it, to tell you the truth, Wally, but we just have the 400 amps.
Well, 400 amps, you can have 400 amps at three-phase, but
Yeah.
I'm surprised that it's not, because that's, most of the commercial buildings can tack. Have you asked that question specifically?
I haven't, because my office power needs are very minimal.
Well, I'm just telling you,
I have
because if
never
you have
done that.
three-phase, that you have more power than you think
Okay.
available. So ask your electrician if it's three-phase power going in there. You can tell just by looking at the drop going.
Okay.
What's that?
The building next to it has 3 phases.
Yeah, so you would think, right? Yeah, so it's a good thing if you do.
Okay. I'll always keep an eye. Yeah. It's beyond my area of expertise, but I'll certainly ask the right people about it.
Just, yeah, you just might want to ask that question because, with three-phase power, you have an extra leg in there. So you're using really not much in there at all. Even with the calculations, you'll be using less.
Okay. I'll take that. Thank you.
You'll get the lighting plan, so that's,
yep, get the lighting plan.
you have calculations.
So I think the first and foremost is what we probably should discuss is the special permit, right?
Yeah.
And then go from there, deal with those.
So this is the official submission of the special permit, right?
Correct.
Yes.
When do we time,
So it's to reduce is,
when did you timestamp it with the clerk?
I don't know that off the top of my head, but
Rough
it's,
guess. John, do you know?
John may know.
So we kind of did, I believe this date sent over, that would have been.
11/7?
That's what it is, yeah.
11/7 is when the application
Seven,
came in,
yeah, I
so
was
it should
thinking
be,
7 sounded right.
should be right after
11/7.
that.
You just don't, does anybody have a copy of the, not that it matters, but you want it with the file?
I can get it.
Okay. just
And I've gotten all,
attach it to-
I've gotten all the certified mail receipts back, so the mailing did happen. It was in the paper both
That's when your
times.
clock's running. Yeah, just when it's, okay.
For us as well.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
All right. John, were there any other concerns on,
Yeah, so the only concerns that I had about the special permit was the criteria under section 50-14.6, which is just the general criteria that all special permits have to meet. It talks about how the social, economic, and community impacts of the special permit, traffic flow and safety, adequacy of utilities, neighborhood character, things like that. So I don't know if you wanted to run through that list and explain to the board like how the special permit is impacting each of those criteria.
Absolutely.
But that's the only glaring thing that I notice.
Yeah, and in the narratives I've submitted, I've tried to make it clear that this is a staple building in the town of Groveland. Elm Park is a special part of, it's our downtown. The Elm Park, that building, formerly 304 to 306 and 308 Main Street, has always housed businesses and for a long time residences. It's been something that has had services. It's been the diner, as we all know, for a long time, but it's housed names that have been anchored to Groveland for decades. Stark and Kronk, and then Mr. Stark's father owned it before him. The diner and Sheehan's for years before that. I'm particularly pleased to bring an established business into the Stark and Kronk side, a business that will contribute to the culture of the downtown part. We already have other children's programming there, so this extends. We have the Tumbling Academy in the next building over. This extends the vitality of downtown Groveland, gives people a reason to be there. There's obviously a new restaurant there. There's a store there. There's other businesses there. The good thing, as I mentioned earlier, is that it will have virtually no impact on the traffic, which is always a concern at the biggest, the bridge intersection. That is the area that will get busy at 4 o'clock and stay busy till about now. With the tenant that we're bringing in, we project that there'll be almost no impact on traffic based on the pickup and arrival times. And our company's operated there for over a year, and we've had no impact on the traffic because we've been able to keep almost all of our cars off the street or use the water department.
When is the rough, I know pickup and drop off will vary some, but generally speaking, what times are those drop offs and the pickups usually?
8:30 a.m. And then pickup is, it's staggered.
Sure.
Because sometimes we offer lunch menus. So it's 11:30 and then 12:30.
So it's not all day, so it's not coming in around 4 or 5?
Yeah, it's not rush hour. And then your group sizes also are not large either.
Yeah, we have a top program that's 4 children, and then we have a preschool program, age program that's 6. And we're not full every day, we're more of a enrichment program, so it's drop-in, so like today I had 3, and then I had 3, there's 6 kids total, so.
It's not like there's 25 kids coming at 8:30 and 25 leaving at
No.
5.
It's a very small.
Exactly.
Enrichment.
Hey, before you go, John, can you pass the microphone over there so they can?
Sorry.
Did you want to say something? Okay.
Yeah, so the business has an exemption through DESI, but one of the requirements of that exemption is you can't have more than 10 kids. So, and they can only come a certain time a month, and so it literally is, I would say, low impact. We're presently in the building next to the Food Mart in West Newbury, next to the barber shop, and we don't have parking there for clients. They just pull up, they drop their child off, they bring them in, off they go.
Sure.
So as far as that goes, we're having an established business come in. The first floor will be full of businesses again, where it was for so many years. But we did mention restaurant last time we met. I did market the building for 30 months potentially to get a restaurant tenant. There's not been a good market for that. Restaurant in the current code environment too, in the mixed-use building would not have been financially ideal for me, but I still wanted to get one. So I was motivated to go at least see what the tide was like for that. Ultimately, there's not been interest in building a new restaurant on a space that size, of the Groveland Diner size. And that would have added the parking that we're all used to at One Elm Park on the weekends. Ultimately, having those 2 businesses down there will bring life to the first floor, will contribute to the culture of Groveland, will put an existing business. There'll be childhood memories being in that building. There's a lot of senior memories in that building when it was a dance hall, when they were putting on shows, and there was a wood-burning stove on the 3rd floor. To me, it's ideal because it puts the building back in the proper place as a functioning part of the town of Groveland's culture.
And I think one of the things that you had mentioned in the last meeting was about the flexibility of the space being able to be transmuted in something else if some other need arises in 2, 3, 5, 10 years.
Yeah, so we're building a shell as soon as you let us of that diner space with the idea of finishing it as an office. But it's the opportunity is still there if there is another business that's interested. I am comfortable on the 3rd floor. I don't have an elevator. I'm not ADA compliant on the 3rd floor. We discussed that last time as well.
Sure.
But if somebody wanted to come in and put their business in the Groveland living room right there, I'm still all ears for it. Absolutely.
Sure.
Where would a restaurant go if you came up with one? Would it be the same spot?
The existing diner space, actually with a little bit more space, Stark and Cronk had some storage rooms that were kind of butted in. So you'll remember the old dining room on the left side was very narrow.
Yeah.
We've evened it out so that the dividing center wall, the nice true cut 2x4 wall that's sturdy as a rock, that is now the dividing line between the 2 units, as you see on the plans there. Where the Stark and Cronk side was more like 2/3 of the
Yeah.
first floor, now it's more like 1/3 of the first floor,
Okay.
with the ADU being a little bit less than 1/3, and then the bathrooms, and then the front office. And again, we're going from 4 non-compliant bathrooms to 2 compliant bathrooms. That's the only reason why we had to make this change.
And how many spaces are you looking for a waiver on again?
So we need 4 additional spaces. Our research says we have 3 on Main Street and then so additionally 1 more after that. So 4 total spaces beyond what's currently allotted to us. And then based on what we have, we can use the rest of them. We've never had to park in tandem on the driveway before, but we're more than willing to do that. We have the space to do it.
We need a reduction of 4.
We need a reduction of 4, yeah. Again, we identified the first 3 right away, and then we figured the water department would be the
So
4th.
you will have how many total?
We'll have 18 spaces based on the code. Again, that factors in, that's based on the square footage of the commercial space, and it's factoring in more employees than we're actually going to have. So while I don't think we'll use 18 spaces, we have to have 18 spaces to satisfy the bylaw.
They need 18. They have 14.
We have 14, so we need 4 to satisfy the
Yep.
new bylaw.
And now with the new bylaw that we approved for the water department, that opens up that public parking as
Yeah.
well, for them to be able to use it. Before, you couldn't use it if you were in downtown. You couldn't use that considered as part of it, so.
Yeah, so basically the water department, the median on Elm Park, and Main Street parking. We're not close enough to the soccer fields. We've already calculated that's out. The new parking lot, that's over a mile away. It needs to be, I think, within a half a mile total.
No, you're right, Brad. Most people aren't gonna walk from the water department. to
Not
go over there.
tonight.
But not today, they're not, no. But I don't even think,
Why there was no traffic?
I honestly, with the businesses, that I don't know if
Back
there's
on the
that much of
sidewalk.
it's gonna be that much of a hindrance there. I think the 14 is probably sufficient, but regardless, what we do have to follow is the bylaws, and we have to make sure that it meets the criteria of the special permit, right? And kind of go through those. So,
Did you want to open it to public comment first before we go through?
I mean, there's only one other, did you have anything you?
I just don't know how many more times you're gonna reduce parking in the square. I know you set the precedent. I know you set the precedence when you let the Mexican restaurant go in, on a property that had 9 parking spaces, 2 with dumpsters on it. They needed, 20 spaces? There's 3 other businesses in there, maybe 4. So you already waived all them from having any parking spaces. They started parking up the side of Elm Park, which is 2-way, going up towards Gardner Street. And I don't know if someone stopped them, but I haven't seen that happening. I know none of the other businesses in the square want people parking on their property. I think I heard him say he wants to utilize 3 of Sweet Paws. That's not happening. Already they have 2 people parking in the alley up against our building. I don't know why, but it doesn't bother me that much because there's 2 dead cars in the middle of it. But, it's just a matter of how many businesses you're going to affect by taking away all the parking around. I know you changed the bylaw after I pointed out that the parking lot up at the water department wasn't within 800 feet. So, you changed that just to suffice that being utilized. But I agree with Brad, they're never going to walk up there. But, so, I mean, I don't know how much more parking you can give away.
Your name and address.
Don Granny, Mill Street.
Thank you. All right, you guys want to go through?
Is there anyone on Zoom?
No.
No, it's like no.
Nope, it's all just us.
So we'll close the public hearing portion.
Well, it's, yeah, I guess, can do that.
Motion to close the public hearing?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. So, public hearing, public meeting are 2 different things. So John puts public hearing as just the public forum. It's not like a public meeting, whereas that standard that we have typically done, correct?
Okay.
Yeah. It's new, so I know we keep
Duly-
getting
duly
confused
noted.
by it.
Sure.
But it's always good to get the feedback, so thank you. So the special permit, to waive the parking requirements under the section 59.4 outline, the board must find to grant the special permit for a parking reduction, and it's it's here below, if you guys all read through. The parking required set forth may be reduced upon the issuance of a special permit by the planning board if the board finds that the reduction is not inconsistent with the public health and safety, that the reduction promotes a public benefit. So it gives the 4 options there. In such cases might include. So we just kind of go through one by one and just make sure that it doesn't impede any of these, right? That's kind of how we flow through.
So
Question.
I'm a little confused.
Yep.
And I want to just get clarity.
Yep.
So why we're here is the major site plan review. I thought that's sort of the top part of that group of, going through those social, economic, traffic flow, all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
And that, I thought the parking piece was like a separate piece?
It is, but it's one in itself because he won't need to do a major site plan.
I see.
If he can't put the businesses there to get the extra parking.
Sure.
Then if we don't pass the special permit, then he wouldn't be able to do, go ahead, John.
Yeah, just to clarify, so the first bullet points at the
Right.
top, that's just the general criteria for all special permits, no matter what it's for, and then the ones underneath are specifically for parking
Understood.
reduction.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you. Sorry.
No, you're good. So that's why I jumped to the parking, because if we don't approve the waiver of the parking,
Then
that
you're-
could change the whole
Right, understood.
dynamic.
Got it.
Because he needs it in order to have additional units.
Got it.
Although, where I kind of look at it, it used to be a diner, and the diner made do with random parking back, and it's not there anymore, and I think there's fewer, but we can go through the cases. Use of a common parking lot for separate uses have peak demands during different times. That kind of covers with the water department, I feel, as though we have open space elsewhere. They have 14, so like we said, they have 14 spaces now. They need a reduction of 4. They are required to have 18 based upon this application for a major modification. Any questions, comments on that? You guys agree, disagree?
I agree. I think the lot provides ample parking for the entire downtown area, and it's largely not even used right now, so in my eyes, there's plenty of parking available.
So that is the place for which you're pulling the 4 extra spots.
That they could go, yeah.
That they would-
Alleviate, to give them the
To
alleviation.
give them
of
the
having-
the 18, right, okay.
So, John, you're creating more residents as well, right?
Yeah, we're going to be building a handicap accessible ADU in the back of the former Stark and Cronk spot. That will help us avoid the need to build an elevator, which is what held up this project for so long, because the building was not going to appraise at any appropriate value that the bank would fund it if there was going to be $500,000 spent on an elevator. So the ADU will eat into some of the old commercial space. We have sufficient parking to cover the 1 bedroom that will be needed for that. So I know it's the aggregate amount of parking spaces that we need, but the future resident will have a spot off of the new ramp that we're building.
So
It's
you're
already-
just
already
adding
signed out.
one residence?
One bedroom is being added, and then the 2 former commercial units have just been redesigned a bit to kind of take the center line of the building as their boundary. So there were always 2 commercial units in that building. They've been vacant since Mr. Stark sold the building to me. We're seeking to bring those 2 units back online with a slight reconfiguration of the size.
How many how many residents are in the building?
There are 4 residents living in the building right now, all on the 2nd floor. That's been since, I think, the 1950s or 60s that those apartments have been used. They have sufficient, they are currently using the parking lot along the river, and they've never had to park anywhere else except our property.
Do they have deeded?
No, I
spots
don't
there?
assign them because one of the tenants doesn't even have a car. He's living there in a VA voucher. He's been there for, as far as I'm aware, over a decade, and he doesn't have a car, and he doesn't need an assigned parking space. So I've never been rigid about assigning them, but I've sort of told them, use the river spot or use the behind the building spots, but keep it consistent so we know roughly where you're parking. And I also take the makes, models, and plates of all the tenants so I know who's there. They're also not allowed to have overnight visitors in the parking for more than one night.
So they're
Well,
allotted.
that was my.
Yeah, they're
that was my
allotted
next
2.
Comment, like, there's gonna be people parking overnight, there's gonna be, you know, Christmas, Thanksgiving, and
Yep.
Yeah, these are primarily one-bedroom units. There's not,
Some big parties.
yeah, there's not significant additional guests coming over. And then and usually it's daytime guests, not overnight guests.
So the two-bedroom unit that's on the second floor, how many spots do you allot them to have?
I technically allot her one spot, but she's the only person that lives in that unit. So I have 4 people living in the 4 apartments. There are 3 that are configured as one bedroom right now, 2 long-term tenants that predate me, and then 2 other tenants that are on their 5th and 2nd or 3rd year respectively living there. The 2-bedroom technically can use 2 spots, but she doesn't. She's only one person.
So the four
There's 4 people
residents use
using
spots.
3 spots right now.
And
Yeah.
then you would think that you anticipate one additional resident using one additional spot.
Yeah, we have 4 spots off of the current loading dock that we've signed off with parking signs. We anticipate just telling that tenant to use one of those spots.
Sure.
Or again, there's still open spots along the river if they wanted to use that because the 4th spot's not being used.
Right.
As we do numbers, and I appreciate, that's what I'm getting to is, you have four residents, three spots they're being used, and you're gonna have an additional resident with 1 spot. But say the fourth resident needs that 4th spot, right? So now you have 5 of the 14 are accounted for, so you have nine remaining if we call it of the current 14. How many units, commercial units will be in there?
2.
And are there a requirement for commercial units for how many spots they need to maintain?
One space per 300 square feet, I believe is the bylaw for office space. So that's how we arrived at the number that we're going to be needing total.
Okay, that's the one for 300 and the 18, okay.
I just also want to note that the bylaw says that there's 1 parking spot per bedroom. And you said that the 2-bedroom only has 1 space.
So, per the bylaw, she counts as 2. She's only using 1. But when we calculated it, we calculated 1 parking space that we currently have on the building's property per bedroom, including the ADU, not per resident. So right now, they're not using full capacity for parking because there's 1 person living in a 2-bedroom and a 1-bedroom with no car at all. But we've calculated as if it was 1 car per bedroom existing at the building.
Which would be 6 under your anticipated.
Correct, yes.
you would have to count them.
Absolutely, yeah,
Move out,
we'd have to count
people
them.
gonna
Right,
leave.
but what he's saying is that he calculated it, but in practice, they're not all being used.
Right. Boots on the ground, 3 are being used right now. We anticipate 4. You are prepared to have
We're
6.
prepared to have up to 6.
Right.
And then again, some of my employees and myself are using the rest of the on-property spaces. Anybody else that comes is told to park at the water department right now.
Got it.
That's what we've been telling people.
Can you break down the square footage of the commercial spaces?
It is in the plan, so unit 1A ends up being about 1,200 square feet, I believe. And then unit 1B ends up being about 790, I believe. That is written in the plans that you have on the first floor. And then the 1-bedroom on the ADU.
Do your calculations include like the top floor as well?
They don't include the top floor because the intention was that we would move down and we would just continue to use the top floor for our storage purposes right now.
Okay.
And then,
What happens if you don't use the top floor?
we,
Storage if you actually rent it out?
the way.
You have to look at it
Of
the
course.
way, you know what I mean? You say one thing, and then listen, if I own that building and I got a tenant that wants to spend $2,500 a month, I'm moving my stuff out, and the
Yeah.
tenant's coming in.
So with the 18 spots that we've calculated, that is anticipating full occupancy of every bedroom, occupancy of unit 3A, where I am at now, and occupancy of units 1A and 1B. So we need 18 spots, counting the bedrooms and the commercial square footage by our calculations. Again, we don't anticipate using them all, but we know what the bylaw requires. So we calculate 18 needed to occupy the existing office, which is not in the plan right now on the 3rd floor, and then units 1A, 1B, and the ADU and 1C.
So that would be full occupancy.
That would be full occupancy, and then the stage room is just storage right now. That room is not configured to be used, and it would not be able to be readily made available to be used. It is as existing right now. We don't know what we have some ideas for that, but we have not brought anything to fruition at this point.
So the parking concept contemplates future usage.
We're trying, yeah, I'm trying to be forward-thinking here. I know downtown parking is never fun, no matter what town that you're in. We don't anticipate using any of our neighbors' abutting spaces, and we don't now. So Sweet Paws has spots in front of their unit. We have never parked cars there. If anybody parks on the right side of the driveway, I tell them to move if I hear about it, because the right side of the driveway belongs to our neighboring building, the left side of the driveway belongs to us. It's literally divided down the middle based on the survey there. So, yeah, again, if people park accidentally in the wrong spot, I'm not saying that's never gonna happen.
Right.
But we try to, the reason why I hired Mr. Parmenter 2 years ago was I wanted to identify the parking I needed to claim in the back of the property. I believe there were some arrangements for, bigger trucks that were parked in the old occupancy that was there, but I don't have that need, so I needed to determine in the back of the property what I owned and how many spots I could carve out of it. So I've done a lot of work to identify the maximum number of parking on a very small piece of land, and we've tried to be very efficient about it.
Are there any loading issues?
No, we're not, again, we're not dealing with retail, and I wouldn't want retail, and I don't think you'd want retail for the parking requirements. So right now, there's a loading dock, which served Stark and Kronk's needs. We don't need a loading dock. We're gonna literally replace that with a handicap ramp. There's no need for a loading dock anymore. So we try to stagger it so that when we know someone has something going on, our tenants are aware. It's downtown, so someone's always gonna make a mistake, but we try to minimize it. We, generally try to be good neighbors and good stewards of the downtown.
Thank you. All right, so that was for use case 1, right? On the number 2, age or characteristics of the occupants, the facility requiring parking, which reduces auto usage. That currently is at play, but when I don't know about you guys, but when I look at it, Brad, like you just said, I have to think long-term at the same time, full capacity, if there's full use, 4 people, 4 cars, that kind of thing. So that's where, looking at that as we go through it.
But I would also say that looking at full capacity compared to full capacity in the prior usage with the diner there, this is actually an improvement on the parking burden in downtown, because you can't necessarily say that there'd be less cars when the diner was there, because at capacity, that diner holds, 5 stool spots, 16 seats in the restaurant, so there could be 20 cars there.
Now you
And
got-
there were.
But you got a functioning restaurant across the street, which you didn't have when the diner was there. You know what I mean? So you have
Right.
to factor it all in.
But,
It was on-street parking when the diner was there, because the bridge was moved over to the bridge was over, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Bridge wasn't where it is now.
but we also have the lot that's within boundary that to be used for anywhere downtown, so.
Anything else on that one? Peculiarities of the use which makes usual measures of demand invalid.
So the daycare is, learning center, sorry.
Wow, that was a big,
No, words matter, I understand.
Licensing flashing
The
before your eyes.
the learning center has
Easy boots on the ground.
peculiarities about how it works, such that the users of that space, are not parking long-term, it's not like a retail place.
It's a drop-off,
Yeah, a drop-off and pickup.
minimal usage. How many employees? Just 2, okay.
can you ever see yourself growing, or not allowed to grow with, I don't know what the,
It would, there is the opportunity to grow, but I like what I do and the way I do it. So you asked about the morning program. Sometimes we do after-school art classes too. So we try and work with some school-age kids and do a few things like that. So we do grow and add programs for all ages.
there was an agency term that you used, and it was, you can only have 10.
So the exemption that we have through DESI, which is the Department of Education and Secondary, whatever, basically she has an exemption that says you're limited to no more than 10 kids.
What happens if you exceed 10? Is the space big enough?
But you can't.
Yeah, okay.
That's our exemption. And so
Okay.
she has to track number of times kids can come per month and number of hours. And so the additional program that she's talking about is, again, it's just drop-off. It's 2 hours where kids are coming and they get dropped off, they do an art project, they get picked up, off they go.
I really don't have a problem with that. I was just,
I
wa- I was
mean,
just
I'd
wondering.
also suggest that any potential growth is something that can be managed through lease stipulations as well. Right, so,
Say that again, Chris?
I said, any potential growth for the learning center could be easily managed by the lease agreement between the tenants and.
Yeah,
the
but you don't
the
want to cut a
applicant.
business off and growing, especially if she's not really impacting
So
the
the
class.
space,
but
the
right,
space won't
but-
allow it.
Right,
That's
but what
the
I'm saying is that,
limitation is the space.
the stipulation can be.
I was just asking a
Well, just,
question.
what I'm saying, we alleviate the concern, right?
You're
If-
good to ask questions, it's okay.
If,
Wasn't really, I was just saying if there was room for
If
growth.
something, if it's written into the lease that it can only hold so many activities, so many kids, what have you, to meet her current need, if there's growth, obviously at the end of her lease term, she looks for a bigger space because her current lease can only occupy.
Yeah, there would be an
so many.
There would be an occupancy restriction
Exactly.
anyway.
How old are the
way that
kids?
I've grown over the last 7 years is I've added different classes. So in addition to the morning classes, a couple days a week I'll teach yoga to girls or girls and boys. Or I'll do an art class, or I'll do a STEAM class, or we'll do some science, or just some
And-
after-school activities.
And do
or-
those, bump up against the exemption stuff?
No.
Okay, this is separate and apart.
It just, the exemption is so that children can only come a certain amount of times a month. And the reason I looked at that initially is because I have a friend that runs a similar business in Boxford. And if you have a particular space that doesn't have certain things like a ramp, or you're more of an enrichment center, you're limited to the amount of times the child can come in. The state isn't gonna regulate every single thing about your building. So if I was to have children there Monday through Friday, there'd be, have to be a lot, I'd have to have an outdoor space.
You'd be at daycare.
Where I don't think,
Words matter, we're talking about.
You become a daycare, you get into this whole other realm.
Different license.
Regardless, your growth is based upon adding additional programs. Occupancy can never exceed the 10 anyway, so it doesn't
And,
really matter.
right.
The other thing is that,
these kids aren't driving there.
no, they're not, and they're not parking.
Not parking.
The other thing I would add to that is a daycare has a whole separate set of zoning requirements and a whole separate set of insurance requirements, and we're not looking to put a daycare in that building.
Understood.
And so just to answer your question, the top program has 4 kids, their ages 18 months to 3 years. The morning program has kids basically 3 to 5 that are preschool age, and there's no more than 6.
Thank you.
Cool.
It was just a question.
It's a fun.
It wasn't about, I know the kids aren't pulling in with BMWs.
That's fine, that's fine.
They need to
That's,
put a
that's
big wheel
cool.
somewhere.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Don, you all right with big wheels?
Well, the kids will be driving because the cars are gonna be self-driving, so.
Then you won't have to worry anymore.
Well, then there are 3 iterations of bylaws that you're gonna be mad about.
But if it's self-driving Ubers, you won't need any parking spaces anymore.
And then the final, Jason, do you have anything?
Come out.
And the final is the availability of on-street parking or parking at nearby municipality-owned facilities. So we know there's no on-street parking, but we do know that there's the municipality-owned facility that is usable.
How many spaces in that mini lot?
It's on the comment number 7 on the survey from from PFS Land Survey. I believe it's 23, 26, something along those lines. And then we do have the 3 on-street parking spaces on Main Street that are directly abutting our building.
Those are public.
Yeah, so there's 3 on-street public spots on Main Street next to the mural.
Cool. And then we go into where the special permit is granted, in a reserve area to be maintained indefinitely as a landscape open space. may be required sufficient to accommodate the difference between the spaces otherwise required and the spaces reduced by special permit. The parking site plan shall show in the dotted line how the reserved area would be laid out in order to provide otherwise required number of spaces. Do we have that?
I'm sorry, what was?
Do we have that part of it showing where, that you're using the municipality as kind of that overflow, the extra floor spots? Do we have that anywhere? Is it-
So the comment references the water department parking lot being the recommended overflow, and then we just number all of our own spaces to show we reach up to that number.
Okay.
And then just sort of my report to you verbally says that the water department is the lot that we would be seeking to use.
Right, I think this is different than that. We've discussed also, there's not a lot of landscaping opportunities there. And I think what this is saying is that when you can, there should be a sort of, give back to landscaping. It doesn't seem like in this unique spot, that there's really a spot for that.
There's no dirt. That'll give us more parking spaces too, if you want to go in that direction.
Yeah, let's get
That's
Mike
a,
Dempsey.
you'd have to
Yeah,
go see Mike
yeah,
Dempsey for that.
Put some pilings in there, you'll be fine.
I imagine you might meet with some resistance.
On their own, on the up. There's no doubt downtown gets tight sometimes.
Understood.
Well, and I think the applicant has also said that he's interested in doing some like urbanscaping too, to sort of.
Absolutely.
Even though you can't create new grass, you can, put a solar bench down.
Solar benches are all the rave, exactly. I would also say, and I don't want to speak for my neighbor, but we also control a lot of invasive species that come in from the river. And that is every couple of weeks in the growing season where they go from zero to nature takes over again. So we do have to do some invasive species control. We use actually the same landscaper, I believe. So we're trying to control that environment so that does not become overgrown with weeds. But again, I don't mean to speak for you, but. No, the check goes to him. Yeah. He's doing my house too, so he's getting both.
Any other questions? So as part of the special permit, it also has to do with the downtown being revitalized, and we kind of follow that plan, and it's been vacant in the bottom floor of the old
Right.
diner for a long time now. You're trying to bring things in and revamp. It looks great down there. Now you hopefully to bring in some more businesses and another tenant as well. So for me personally, I'm not opposed to the special permit for the parking restriction. But now I'll open it up to you guys. Questions, any other questions, comments, concerns? Do you feel as though it meets criteria? Anything that does not meet criteria, that it would be denied before we go on to the, if we were to go on to the major site plan?
Ask one question.
Sure.
All right, so when the restaurant got put in across the street, they already gave up 16 spaces. So if you've only got 23 up there, there's already somebody that's parking 2 or 3, I don't know, trailers and cars over there on the property that I don't think move. How many other spaces have you guys given away to the municipal parking lot?
I don't see the municipal parking ever overflowing.
No, I'm not saying, I'm just saying.
I never even see it more than half full.
Well, and the biggest thing to realize is none of the businesses are going to really contradict with the restaurant, because the restaurant's early evening into the late evening. So they're in different times.
And by 5 o'clock, our people are all gone, their people are all gone, and the restaurants would just be getting started in most cases. So yeah, it's, the public parking is not, I mean, I know people can park there overnight, and, there's winter parking kicks in at some point for the street parking, but it's meant to facilitate a wide variety of businesses that open and close at different times. So I think what we've tried to do here is be creative enough so that we're using some of that daytime inventory without putting a bunch of cars or a bunch of heavy vehicles there.
To answer your question, though, we do not allocate specific count of spots in the municipal lot say, okay, they needed 16, so 16 have to be accounted for that business, and then another 4 have to be for these 2 businesses. We haven't done that, but I can see your very valid point. As we start to do it for more people in downtown, we need to be able to account for all those spots at
Right.
the same time.
All of a sudden, 40 spots are counted for 3.
I mean, all the times that we had to have our tenants come in and get their permits, we always had to meet the requirements. You know, now I see everyone that's coming in doesn't have to. It's kind of surprising.
Yeah, there's a lot more waivers and a lot more businesses going in. We changed the bylaw, coming in. Downtown parking has always been.
Business friendly.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah, and I mean,
It's never been business friendly.
it has been.
well, the comprehensive master plan says it should be, and that's the direction we should be moving. And so, as we think about things where we have some discretion, the place we should be exercising it, at least in terms of, you know, what the people want, as expressed by their comprehensive master plan, is to, you know, effectuate, you know, some more business-friendly situation, especially on these main thoroughfares, you know, Main Street and whatnot. And so this is right at the apex of that. So it's certainly, you know, as I look at the criteria for the permit, you know, in total, you know, it says consistency with the Town of Groveland Community Development Plan or the master plan. This is exactly that. We want to encourage, you know, business coming in, back into town, so it's not a dead downtown.
Believe me, I'm
So-
all for business.
Not only it's dead downtown,
We're
it's,
the only company that took the town to court.
Yeah.
Because their bylaws weren't written properly, so they had to rewrite all of them.
Sure. Well, I mean, this board is bylaw friendly and understands that, you know, we're trying to get closer to the mark every
Business
time.
friendly.
But
So-
you have a
Fair
great point. You have a great point of being able to, we need to monitor how many additional spaces we're giving people for the overflow and having that accounted for, right? Because if you need to use all 4 and the restaurant needs to use 16, I know, and you're right, Jason, the timing of that restaurant versus what you guys are using it for is separate. But as other businesses start to grow or come in, we need to account for that and make sure that that's not, so thank you.
And part of that is boots on the ground, right? So in the next 6, 8, 12 months, you'll see what it starts to look like. And if you see an impact, then the next project that comes along, you know, that's gonna get raised. And so, you know, if you know, the marginal impact of this learning center comes in, I can learn, you know, is nil, right? Then the next project that comes in, you know, maybe that's not such a big deal, but if, you know, all of a sudden, yeah, wow, we didn't anticipate this thing for whatever reason, you know, then it could be very different the next time we have an application.
Yeah, but it's a special permit. So in the special permit, you can stick in the language that the parking, you know, approve the waiver and revisit it in 6 months to see how it's working out, and then include those extra spaces. So a special permit's kind of like a blank piece of paper. You can put anything in it that you need on restrictions.
I think once you give the special permit, Wally, I think that's it. I don't
I don't think
think
you
you
can
can
take it back.
I don't think you can
No,
take
no, no,
it
no, I
back in
didn't say take it
6
back.
months.
I didn't say take it back at all.
Unless
Put
there's a
provision-
unless there's a
put
clear
provision on the parking
violation.
on the waiver that, take a look at it in 6 months. Is it working? Is it not working? Did we give all the spaces away?
I don't think you want to do that.
Yeah, I don't want to do that because now you're not business friendly.
No, well, we're not trying not to be business friendly. What I'm saying is if there's a concern about the parking, there's a way to get around that, but it,
But the restaurants survive because we usually went there on weekends.
yeah.
And they just use that parking lot. You know.
Is there a difference between weekend and non-weekend?
So my office does not use any parking during the weekends at all. Our staff is on call from home 24 hours a day, so weekends and at night, they're home. And I don't know what our prospective tenant would use for weekends, but
School
would probably be similar. If they were doing weekend programming, I'd imagine it'd be similar
They don't
parking.
Are you there on the weekends?
Almost never.
Okay.
Once in a while, I'll do a craft. Like this Saturday, we're making
So,
The big wheels won't be parking there on Saturday.
Yeah, right.
So does anyone else have any questions on the special permit?
No.
Aspect of it?
no.
No? No? All good? All right. So, anyone want to vote a motion or entertain a motion to accept the application for a special permit?
As to the parking?
I would make a motion to accept the grant special permit under 50-114.6 and also the special permit for the parking reduction under section 50-9.4 for the One Elm Park request.
You're doing the whole site plan too?
That's it.
Well, we're just doing the part.
Oh, we
just
were
the-
doing
just the-
parking.
We're just doing the
the park.
special permit.
Okay.
Special permit,
Yeah.
yep.
Amended to meet just the parking reduction
Yep.
under 59.4.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye. So moved. All right, major site plan. The issues that arise, right? So we had the power, that's accounted for. Fire,
We submitted a permit today to replace the fire alarm with a modern addressable system, and we've met with the fire chief this week about it.
okay,
So that is happening.
okay.
We've talked about parking and traffic flow and safety.
Lighting plan.
We submitted the lighting plan,
We got that,
we submitted the load calculation.
load power, yep, that's good.
There's no landscaping.
It is, it's a dry system, the whole building is sprinkled, basement to third floor and the attic.
No impacts on the
that's
natural
good, Don.
environment, so that's not applicable.
Dry system. That means you need a generator.
Right, cityscape.
Compressor, yeah.
You're looking,
I'm looking at these
special
criteria,
permit, that's special permit criteria.
but this is, so, okay.
Yeah, you don't have to,
Oh, gotcha, because
Yeah.
that's covered with.
yeah,
Correct.
we're just, this is just the major
Okay,
site plan stuff
got it.
that, where,
Do we have an application for the major site plan?
Yeah,
That's what was reviewed last month, November, or introduced, I should say.
See? Okay. We test these.
What's happened on the ramp situation?
we have not done the work yet. We lost the work crew that was available. Now right now they're shoveling snow. But we feel confident that once we move with the whole project, as you guys know, it's easier to say, come do the whole thing. I thought I can get the ramp going 2 weeks ago, but
No,
yeah.
that's why we asked.
I got some good pricing on materials though, so
Right.
I made some progress.
Okay.
It's expensive.
anyone have any questions on the site plan?
No, I think you answered all the,
Yeah, I think,
We looked
and
at
it
it.
all, most of it's gonna come under the purview of Sam for permitting, so. And the fire chief.
The Learning Center, is that going on Main Street side? Is that what
It is, yeah, it's going on the former Stark and Cronk side.
Which is much easier for
Yeah.
drop
pick up
off.
and drop
Right.
off.
Instead of having to do that on the
Especially
main.
one way.
Yeah.
That was
We already
intentional.
approved the special permit. There's no going back. Any public comment about the major site plan? You sure? It's always nice to see you, Don.
John, did you have anything we missed, anything concerns from your design? Okay.
I make a motion then that we approve the major modification for the site plan.
I'm gonna second that.
Okay. Motion made and seconded to approve the major site plan application under the chapter 5013.2. All those in favor? All those in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can you also make a motion to do the waivers? To approve the waiver requests?
They were,
For the, it was for the utility plan, the landscape plan.
Oh, yes.
right.
okay.
I make a motion that we waive the utility plan and the landscape plan.
Second.
Motion made and second for landscape and utility plan waiver for the major site mod.
Due to the existing, facility and the modern upgrades and the code upgrades, so.
And the lack of landscaping.
And that, again, is gonna fall under the
Right.
review of the building inspector, so.
Any discussion?
I have none.
No? All right. Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. Thank you, John. Anything else that we missed? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate
Thank you
it.
for your time and effort.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
absolutely.
To you guys as well.
Good luck.
Thank you so much.
One question, some of the businesses downtown have signs that come perpendicular to the building. Others
So I think, again, that's gonna be Sam. That's gonna be the building inspector, but if there's anything under the preview, that comes to the zoning board.
Right, but signage requirements are clearly outlined.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. I happen to know the zoning chair.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Have a
Good
good
luck.
one.
Appreciate you coming in.
John, thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah.
Thanks
Good
for
to see you,
coming.
Don.
We appreciate
When are we-
it, but we certainly do.
When are we gonna see your application? Your building down there, you gonna raise it?
Well, we did some investigating. I mean, if there was a developer that wanted to come in and do it, I mean, it's pretty easy.
Would you need a waiver in parking?
I know better than you get waivers.
Oh, yeah.
It looks
Oh,
good.
boy.
Perfect for you.
All right.
What's next?
Next up, we got approval of November 18th, 2025 meeting minutes.
Motion.
The dog people are staying for another couple of years, so
Oh, I thought they
really?
were moving, I thought they bought a,
they did, but Boxford is worse than Groveland as far as getting permits. I don't know if you knew that. That's what they told me.
That's what we should advertise to the Boxford.
Yeah. Come on down.
Come to Groveland, we're better on.
Roxford has no real business. They got a tiny downtown.
Well, I think they were trying to get a liquor license, and you can't get those there.
Right.
Yeah.
Take care.
Take care,
Yeah,
Don.
thank you.
Done. Motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, so moved. All right. Other items not reasonably anticipated at time of the posting.
Yes, so we have a bicycle plan that Brad has brought forward for the board to discuss.
Well, hold on a minute. Let me explain. Jason is the chairman of this, so he can, so I happen to go to the select board meeting to get an approval for a CR restriction, a sign off. While we were at the meeting, something got thrown into John's lap without him even knowing. So what came up was a bicycle, basically a bicycle path system or a bicycle where they go. Yeah, it's a bicycle route system that the town of Groveland was supposed to approve through the select board. And somebody raised that John should take a look at it and the planning board or the town planner should agree or disagree. So while I was there was some discussion that instead of using the route and going down Center Street, which is probably in Middle Road through West Newbury to Newburyport, which that is specifically really designed for, some people brought it up that we should probably use the rail trail. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen these bikers, like Lance Armstrong. They're not looking at the spruce tree over on the bike path. You gotta also take in consideration on the rail trail that there's kids, there's strollers, there's dogs on leashes, there's families. And these guys are probably doing 35 miles an hour, probably doing about 200 miles a day. They're going from point A to point B. So when this was brought up, I said we should probably throw it under items none reasonably, anticipated.
Well, I mean, sounds like it's something that maybe we should discuss,
I think it's
an
cut and,
agenda item.
I think it's cut and dry. There was a gentleman on Zoom that presented this, he's presenting every town through the whole country, to get that map approved.
This isn't a requirement. This is them asking to do that?
This is them asking John just for advice. Do you agree on, Center Street, or do you move it out towards Main Street and come up the rail trail?
So it looks like the organization, the US Bicycling Route System is looking to designate certain roads through towns as part of this system that they would advertise
Yeah.
for the biking community.
So is there any infrastructure that goes with it, like a wider lane or
No,
like
no.
signage or anything?
Just a
It's just
sign.
use these
No.
roads.
They're in a dirt road.
We do have some signs up, but, that was the other question. do we need signs? And signs get to be very expensive, and who pays for signs? And we don't think that doesn't need to come up in this board.
I mean, I wouldn't think so. Looking through this, it looks like they're just looking to
They're just looking at, yes,
Yeah,
you
we-
approve it or you don't.
On our map of this route, we want to designate from John's building to the West Newbury Town line as this route
Yeah.
through town.
It's basically Center Street.
And, generally speaking, bicyclists.
They use Center Street all the time anyways. Real bicyclists use Center Street, Middle Road.
So, one thing that I would say is I would be strongly opposed to making the rail trail or any of the other Groveland trails as part of this network, because of exactly what Brad is saying. I think the difference between someone taking their dog and their little kid in a stroller up the rail trail, which isn't all that wide, and it is bounded by fencing, and, like, it might be different if there were, you see on some trails where they have like a designated concrete line where this is where bikes go, like you can do that, and it's like a separate designated area.
Unlike
But-
dirt, we have an asphalt rail trail. They're gonna be moving 30
Yeah,
miles an hour.
Yeah, I think I'd be strongly opposed to any, proposal to make that into,
Yeah.
a biking superhighway.
Why don't we make this an agenda item so I can get a little more info? Because I'm interested to see where where they're connecting from, and then where it's going to.
Jason probably has,
It's like get a little more, and then we can put it on an agenda item. As of right now, I don't think we have anything for the next meeting anyway. And I know it's close to Christmas as well.
Jason, when do you guys have to make a decision on it?
We're in no rush.
They got until what, April?
Yeah.
I mean, they need to cover the entire Midwest.
Because I'm interested, because I'm interested to like you said, what type of infrastructure. I've seen
No
Bike-
infrastructure.
bike
The
lanes.
exist-
No infrastructure at
The
all.
existing route is already laid out for the Greenway,
Okay.
and so they're just trying to piggyback on the Greenway as a bike route, because it's a scenic route. It's not very well traveled. So
Well-
it's,
Well, that's something that we're working to change, actually, pretty actively with the Trails Enhancement Program. And right now, there's a link we're working to design a link between the rail trail and Center Street Greenway by putting in a bridge where there's a spot for it, a
Right.
really great spot for it. It just needs a bridge. And that would open up a good chunk of the Center Street Greenway, and where we would be actually
Why
putting,
use a bridge too?
where we could, we would be putting a lot of infrastructure, bridge, benches, trail markers, things of that nature, to piggyback off the success of the rail trail and kind of get people into a different area, that's less traveled. So
right,
I'd
but
be,
you wouldn't be increasing the traffic in terms of automotive. And that's one of the reasons why
Right.
they want to utilize the Greenway Trail.
But I also think that any road work or signage or markers on the paving plan, that would be, at least to me, seems like it would be separate from this initiative. That'd be something the town would decide to do in and of itself if we wanted to. But I do agree that, maybe it makes sense just to make sure that we wouldn't need to.
Yeah, this Greenway marker's already up, and they have no intention of putting any additional markers or
Or
signs.
signs or anything, right? And these guys know these guys know where they're going. These guys know the route.
Yeah.
These are the guys that have a backpack of water and a straw, and they're just going, and their heads down, and they're just going to point A, point B, and see you later.
Well,
I'd
given-
also venture to guess, sorry. to cut you
oh,
off.
no, it's okay.
Venture to guess that the organization behind this plan knows that they're not gonna get much in the way of funding, so they're probably just looking to use existing routes.
Correct, there's no funding.
Without any enhancements to those routes as part of their initiative.
And what did he say, Jason? This guy, this organization started in 1982, and basically really
They
didn't
took
go
a hiatus for a
anywhere.
long time because there wasn't a person to head it up.
Right, now
And they
there
came
is.
back, but right now, they've got 23,000 miles designated across the United States.
Well, what it sounds like to me is exactly what DJ said. It sounds like this is ripe to be an agenda item for the next meeting, and we can get some more information about specifics and what might be impacted, what things, because again, I don't think we're opposed to having, Groveland be part of the national initiative if it is, gonna make Groveland look better and, not impact, residents in a negative way.
And does it even fall under our purview? Does it fall into planning?
That's what
or
I
is
was
it-
kind of surprised, but once
so-
they
Well,
gave it
just
to
anybody can give
I think they're
advice.
trying to connect all the
Right.
towns.
We can have an opinion about it.
Exactly.
All right, so we'll put it on the next meeting.
Yeah.
Who's gonna come in with a, who's got a map?
big issue out of it. I mean, it's-
There's a map on there.
No, I
but
see that map.
Yeah, I
but
don't-
What
I
about
don't
the
know.
map cutting through Groveland?
That's what I'm interested,
Yeah. Who's got one?
That's in there too.
Next meeting, Tuesday, December 16th. People okay with that? I'm gonna have a quorum for, as of now?
As far as I know.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, I just saw that so much.
Looks good for me.
I'm glad I took this away from you, John.
I will not be here on the 16th.
Okay.
Oh, me, big fan.
I have a work commitment.
You can zoom in. Christmas party for Chris, okay, got it.
We having a planning board Christmas party? 16th? I like that.
That'd be a funny Zoom.
All right, entertainment to, entertain a motion to
We got an
adjourn.
alcohol license for that day?
I'll move to adjourn the meeting at 8:06 PM on Tuesday, December 22nd.
All those in favor?
All right.
So moved. Meeting closed, 8:06, Tuesday, December 2nd. Thank you, Town of Groveland, appreciate it.
Thank you for watching, and
yeah.
have a nice holiday.
Yep. Talk to you in a couple weeks.